The big number is 5. 5 wins in a row, and the Hornets are 500 in the month of March. Can you believe it? They get a win over the Dallas Mavericks. I've got your recap. Let's get it. Locked On Hornets.
You are Locked On Hornets, your daily Charlotte Hornets podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
In a minute, cuz we live.
Welcome in to Locked On Hornets, you disgusting sickos. Can you believe it? The Hornets are 531-31 in the month of March. First time since 2022. That's the 43-win season under James Borrego. This one under Charles Lee, and the buzz is back in Charlotte, man. Just watching that game, we're gonna dig all into the details, but just listening to the game from home, the crowd cheering at I heard a "Let's Go Hornets" chant in Spectrum Center. That's unfortunately been a little bit unusual over the past couple of seasons, but not this season. Not this season, because the Charlotte Hornets and the Charlotte Hornets fans are all charged up. This is Locked On Hornets, your daily podcast on the Charlotte Hornets, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. I'm Doug Branson. You can find my work on every Hornets box score. I've got the notes in conjunction with the great Evan Hale, a producer now on Locked On Hornets. Shout out, Evan. We teamed up. We talked about Voltrons in the last episode. Evan and I forming the Voltron to get you a super game notes on this win against Dallas, a game that the Charlotte Hornets should have won. It should not be surprising that they got this win. It's impressive. 5 wins in a row. They're building another streak. That's impressive. But at the same time, they should have won this game. No Cooper Flag, lots of injuries on the Dallas Mavericks side, and they are a team that is looking to try to get that #1 pick all over again. This was the front night of a back-to-back. They will travel to Boston on Wednesday to play the Celtics. That's a huge game. No Kobe White for Charlotte in this game. They are still managing that injury. I don't expect him to play back-to-backs, at least for the next couple of back-to-backs, as they continue to monitor that calf injury that came over from his time with the Chicago Bulls, but that should mean that he would be healthy enough to play against the Boston Celtics. A lot to get into in this win. It was not a work of art for the Charlotte Hornets, if we're being completely honest. But I would say that it's nice that it's like fun to watch the Charlotte Hornets, even on a night where things got sloppy a little bit, even on a night where the starters, particularly like LaMelo Ball, Kon Knueppel, Brandon Miller in foul trouble through some of this, got up to 5 fouls, but got 4 fouls at a point when he had to sit for a portion. But it was still a fun watch, and a lot of that came down to this bench unit, particularly Grant Williams, who seemed like he couldn't miss from 3. Josh Green, who we've gotten accustomed to see hit a lot of corner threes, decided, forget corner threes. That's boring. That's old Josh Green. New Josh Green's going to start hitting them from above the break. He knocked down a few from there, and then Sion James connecting with Ryan Kalkbrenner, connecting with Kon Knueppel for a rookie triumvirate on several plays. Sion James putting up good numbers as well. In fact, you had 8 Charlotte Hornets in double figures in this game. Pat Connaughton was getting into the act. It was like one of those sort of like reunion shows. It was SNL 50 when they got all the cast members together and everybody was firing off jokes. That was this Charlotte Hornets team tonight. Just everybody contributing in whatever way they needed to get an impressive win. I haven't even said the final score. You want to know the final score? Did you not watch? What's wrong with you? It was 117-90. They held the Dallas Mavericks to 90 points. And look, bad NBA teams can score a lot of points. It's not out of the realm of possibility, particularly if you allow them to. And it looked like early on in this game that the Charlotte Hornets may do just that. They may have done just that, letting Dallas, particularly Brandon Williams, get to the rim at will, but the defense did gather itself, did figure some stuff out. The one thing that they couldn't figure out in this game is how to guard the Dallas Mavericks without fouling them. Let's see what the foul discrepancy ended up being for this one. It was quite tremendous. So it was, scrolling, 42 attempts for the Dallas Mavericks, only 19 attempts for the Charlotte Hornets. Neither team shot it well from the free throw line. 74% for the Dallas Mavericks. They went 31 of 42, and which was nice. I mean, if you're going to allow a team to go to the line for 42 attempts, having them miss 11 of them, that was a gift by this Dallas Mavericks team. Part of the reason why they didn't score over 100 points. And then for the Charlotte Hornets, 13 of 19. That's good for 68% from the free throw line. Look, discrepancy could have been a little bit of a whistle situation, but I think ultimately it came down to a couple of things. One, the Charlotte Hornets were taking bad shots at different portions of this game, and the Dallas Mavericks were looking to run. They used bad shots to initiate transition offense, and instead of the Hornets allowing that transition to go right to the rim, you had guys like Brandon Miller putting a body in front of another body. And it probably, look, I mean, in all honesty, it probably saved them on a few possessions from giving up 2 easy points. You had, I think Caleb Martin would have had an easy bucket, but instead missed both of the free throw opportunities. But 42 free throw attempts is too many free throw attempts, and they didn't all happen in transition. It was Brandon Williams, it was Ryan Nembhard cutting through the teeth of the Hornets defense, getting past the MIG, the most important guy, the guy who is supposed to guard the ball, getting past them, help defense comes over, puts the arms out, gets the slap foul, sends the Dallas Mavericks to the line. So listen, anytime you can come away with a double-digit win, almost more than a double-digit win, almost a 30-point win, and anytime you can do that and get 5 straight wins on a night when you give up 42 free throw attempts, and on a night when several of the starters were not having their best scoring game, that's going to be super impressive and something that you can take away from, and a good wake-up call. Like, I think the worst thing that could have happened, particularly going into this Boston Celtics game, is if they had played a perfect game against the Dallas Mavericks and there was really nothing to take away, if Dallas had completely rolled over. And you might look at the final score and say, Doug, 117-90. It looks like they kind of rolled over. Yeah, but when you watch the game, like, Dallas was still fighting. There's not a lot of talent on that team. And as soon as they broke the lineup, as soon as they got it to, because when you have as many injuries, and look, you've been watching the Charlotte Hornets long enough, you know the times when the Hornets were so depleted by injury that they could come out in the first few minutes and look fine. And then as soon as they broke the lineup and got into the G Leaguer portion of their bench, it was game over because the talent wasn't there, because the bodies weren't there, because the physicality wasn't there. So that's, it's just sort of, this was a game where the Hornets fans were looking into their past selves and their past teams here with the Dallas Mavericks. But they did show fight at different portions of this game. And the Hornets, they used a 35-24 third quarter to break this thing wide open and go into the 20-point mark. But it wasn't so wide open that you had a, SGA only plays 3 quarters situation. There were starters that were playing into the fourth quarter. And look, you've got a back-to-back. You've got to travel to Boston. If you could have rested your starters, I'm sure they would have taken that opportunity. But you had to make sure that you sealed this one away because, as we've said many times, every single win matters. They moved to 500. They've got to go 12-8 to match that 43-win mark that Borrego team did to get over 500. But really, honestly, they've got to even play better than that, I think, if they want to make a real run at a potential 6th seed and avoid the play-in altogether. I don't know that they can lose any more than 5 the remaining way. And on paper, at least, they've got a tough schedule ahead of them with lots of teams that are far and away on the winning side of their record books. So they need to accumulate all of these wins against the Pacers and the Mavericks and the Brooklyn Nets of the world that they've got coming up on their schedule. and they take care of business tonight. A lot of it had to do with the bench. I want to dig into some more of those performances, and we've got your Sicko celebrations from the Sicko Satchel. The Sicko Brigade is loud. I mean, I don't know that I'm going to be able to get to them all, but I'm going to get to as many as I possibly can because, listen, everybody's lit up right now. It's an exciting time to be a Hornets fan. Also, what I want to do later in the show is reveal the results of our poll that we put out. Are we going to allow Bill Simmons back on, or I don't know, back on, I don't think he's ever been on it. Are we going to allow him for the first time on the Charlotte Hornets bandwagon that we're calling the Charlotte Hornets Convoy? We'll reveal the results of that poll coming up on Locked On Hornets. Today's episode of Locked On Hornets brought to you by our good friends at Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill is still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed Sponsored Jobs helps you reach the people who actually fit what you're looking for, the skills, the experience, the location, so you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. You get the right candidate. And here's the stat that says it all. In the minute that I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed Sponsored Jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all those boxes. Listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help get your job the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Go there right now. Support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed Sponsored Jobs. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Welcome back into Locked On Hornets. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. Got to tell you about the Everydayer Club. Get Locked On Hornets ad-free with the Everydayer Club. Plus, you get some members-only Discord access. Join at lockedonhornets.supercast.com. Going to get to the Sicko Cellies celebrations in just a moment, but want to dig into more of this game. The bench was just absolutely critical in this one. Kalkbrenner, 10 and 5. Grant had 12 points, 4 of 6 from 3. Sion James, 13 points. He added 8 rebounds in this game. And an absolutely monster dunk that came, I don't think he got the defensive rebound, but maybe he did, but tough defensive rebounding, leading to breaks of the Hornets' own, leading to a complete runway for Sion, and he took it. And by the way, such a great decision by Sion James. He could have easily pulled up for the three-point shot, but instead he saw the free lane and said, I'll just take the points. I'll just take the 2 points. We'll move on. Love that decision from him. What did he fit? His plus-minus, there were a couple of insane plus-minuses in this game that I just, since, I do every Hornets box score, I got to dig into the box score here. For the Hornets, the two insane ones, Sion James at plus 30, and then Josh Green at plus 36. 11 points, 3 rebounds, 2 assists, 4 of 6 from the field. He continues to get into the 8 to 12 range point scoring wise. We're just a year removed from the Josh Green regular goose egg or the even more infuriating Josh Green 1-point game. just score 0. Don't score 1 point. Don't tease me with 1 point, Josh Green. Just score 0. No, you don't even have the decency to do that. I honestly think he was limited. At some point, I think he played through the shoulder thing that cost him a portion of this season, had the surgery in the offseason, and seems like a completely different player. Just how he runs down the court, just what he's giving with his body looks completely different. I don't know if it's how much of it's physical, how much of it's mental, how comfortable he's feeling now with this particular roster, with this particular team, under this particular coach, but he just looks like a completely different player. I just got a bedtime reminder on my watch. That's right, folks. I'm approaching 40. But shut up, watch. The Hornets just won by 1 billion against the Dallas Mavericks to go to 5 straight wins. I'm not going to bed just quite yet. I've got to continue talking about this team. Yeah, Grant Williams, 12 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists, just banger after banger from beyond the arc. He was incredible in this one. I didn't think he was going to miss at all. And they needed all of those 3-point shots. 19 threes made on the night. That helped equalize all of those free throws that the Mavericks made on their attempts. The Hornets committing a season-high 30 fouls. So I think the record, as mentioned by EC on the broadcast, 39 that occurred in the year 1990, and they didn't specify whether it was 89-90, that would have been the inaugural year, or 90-91. Either way, both years the Hornets were stinky. Maybe the stinkiest outside of the 7-59 Bobcats. I mean, those early Hornets teams, I mean, the Hive was rocking. They were selling out crowds. Didn't matter how stinky they were. But if you look back on those years, they were getting blown out routinely and somehow committing 39 fouls. But Brandon Miller, want to mention him. He was your game score leader and your scoring leader at 17 points. I mean, it was a balanced scoring night. Did run into the foul trouble, but I think the league is taking notice of Brandon's ability now to score at all levels and the impact that he has defensively. I think playmaking still the missing piece for Brandon Miller, but you can see the glimpses. You can see that light starting to come on as he's gotten to play more games consecutively. But I think that's going to come. And look, a potential postseason series could absolutely be a launching pad for a star-level turn next season for Brandon Miller. I think we're just starting to see the genesis of it. All the seeds were there for the stardom in his first seasons, and now you're seeing him start to blossom, and I think it comes to full flower in a potential postseason series heading in to next season for him when he can get the shoulder fully healthy, when he can continue to build on the body and get some strength that he's going to need. But it wasn't, it's interesting, like Lee after the game wasn't talking about his body or strength or injuries. He didn't even mention the playmaking. The one thing that Lee mentioned post-game was that Brandon has to continue to work on his decisiveness, which I guess in a way is connected to playmaking for himself and playmaking for others. His decisiveness, his foul drawing ability, and his needing to avoid dribbling into crowds. And I think he came in to the league with a really great basketball IQ, and he still has it, but he's getting more and more crowds. As he continues to score at all 3 levels, defenses are taking notice. Kon's getting a little bit of this too. Kon struggled in this game early on, ended up with 13, 6, and 5, was run off the line routinely early on by the Dallas Mavericks defense, and it seemed to shake him out of his rhythm. He was huge, though, in that third quarter, the decisive third quarter. He had 7 points and 3 assists. He was really in command. And that's the Kon Knueppel thing. Like, that's the thing you see in Brandon, too, and you see in LaMelo. You can take Kon out of his game for a quarter. You can take him out of his game for a half. Same thing with LaMelo. I mean, God, just in the past couple of seasons, I can remember countless times where LaMelo would be just absolutely out of it for 3 quarters, and then in the fourth quarter go 7 of 9 and hit 6 threes and completely bring the Charlotte Hornets back from the dead. Kon isn't exactly doing that in fourth quarters, but he has that same ability to stay with the game, continue to contribute. Brandon talked about that after the game too, finding ways to contribute even when the other team is clearly making you a focus of their defense and taking you out. And having multiple guys that can do that is kind of the key thing, kind of the core thing that is driving this Hornets team to all of their success right now. So a good game from Brandon, a mature game from Brandon, and didn't let those fouls completely derail his night. And we've seen that before. We've seen that happen to Brandon. We've seen that happen to LaMelo, where those situations can completely take them out of the game and cost the Hornets a game. And it didn't in this one, as he was able to lead the team in scoring. I mentioned LaMelo. He was a -5 tonight, But as Evan noted in the Every Hornets box score, didn't really feel like it. He had 5 steals. He was turning back the clock. He was like in his first 2 seasons, he was a triple-double threat every night because he would steal the ball from other teams, but he would also steal rebounds. He doesn't really do any of that anymore. He doesn't. He's more focused on like getting ready in transition to command the offense instead of looking for his own stats. But he just felt it tonight and was in passing lanes, and probably knowing that the guard set for Dallas was not like top tier, knowing that they were going to make mistakes. He was hunting that a little bit. And I think LaMelo could have had a huge night had he been able to turn more of those steals into his own offense. There were a couple of those steals that he went down, had an opportunity to knock down a 3, and it just didn't go in. And so, had those opportunities gone, I would say like the one knock on LaMelo in this game is maybe on those transition sets, he was a little, like there was a 3 that he had in the corner where he hesitated and then he decided to put it up anyway. And Dallas took so many of those LaMelo missed shots that might have been ill-advised or ill-timed, and they were able to take those into transition, and those ended in fouls or easy points for the Dallas Mavericks. So like it wasn't, but he had 9 assists. Like I don't think it was a bad game by any stretch. Just again, there were several starters that just weren't completely in their groove. I mean, Miles Bridges too, I'll throw him in there like in the third quarter. At the beginning of the third quarter, he made like 3 runs at the rim and just came away with nothing, and probably needed to kick the ball out on 2 of those possessions. So it's just stuff that they have to shore up, and luckily it happened on a night that you're playing the Dallas Mavericks and not the Boston Celtics, who they have coming up on Wednesday. Huge game, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about that game. But I want to stick with this one. We're going to do Sicko celebrations coming up. We'll hear from the Sicko Brigade and talk some more Hornets on the other side. Locked On Hornets. Today's episode of Locked On Hornets brought to you by our friends at BetterHelp. This episode is sponsored by BetterHelp. March, it's a time to celebrate women, especially around International Women's Day, and to recognize just how much they carry at work, in relationships, and families, and in all the unseen roles they step into every single day. It's easy to celebrate that strength, but it's just as important to make space for their emotional well-being, and honestly, that goes for all of us. Your emotional well-being matters, and your family and how much they carry, that also matters. How many of us are doing the same thing, carrying around stuff that we don't talk about, the roles we play, the expectations that we carry, the pressure that we don't always talk about. Therapy can help with all of that. It creates balance. It sets healthy boundaries. So you can support your overall well-being. With over 30,000 licensed therapists and more than 6 million people served worldwide, BetterHelp is the world's largest online therapy platform, and it works. Fill out a short questionnaire, get matched with a licensed therapist, and if it's not the right fit, good news, you can switch at any time. Your emotional well-being matters. Find support and feel lighter in therapy. Sign up and get 10% off at BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. That's BetterHelp.com/LockedOnNBA. This episode also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. College basketball, it's nonstop, big games, tight spreads, momentum swings every single night. Producer Evan and I were talking about it before the show. I was checking in on the Heels that I didn't get to watch them tonight but I did. The little ticker came across and said that they were down to the Clemson Tigers, and I was like, oh no, you can't lose to Clemson, you can't do it. But I checked in and they made a rally in the second half. That's the way this thing works. It's wild. From early tip-offs to late-night West Coast shootouts, there's always action on the board, and now FanDuel is giving you a way to turn that energy into even bigger potential wins with a college basketball parlay profit boost. You can build any college hoops parlay you want, rivalry games, ranked matchups, whatever fits your read. You can mix spreads, totals, and player props to match how you see the slate playing out. Then you can apply the profit boost and instantly bump up the potential payout. I was looking at the Rookie of the Year odds, of course. I have to check every day. It's a ritual for me. I have to go to FanDuel.com and check the Rookie of the Year odds, and it's Kon Knueppel in the lead at -150, Cooper Flagg at +120, and if you want to get crazy, VG Edgecombe at a cool +10,000. He's way back. But Kon and Cooper still dueling, at least in the Rookie of the Year odds. They didn't get a chance to duel tonight. Go safe, go bold, ride with the team you've been following all season. It's your parlay, your style, now with more upside behind it. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com. FanDuel, play your game. More Locked On Hornets ahead. Welcome back into, whoa, voice went up an octave there. Okay, my watch might be right. It might be time to go to bed. Welcome back to Locked On Hornets. There we go. Welcome back to Locked On Hornets. Hornets get the big win over the Dallas Mavericks, and I want to go to the Sicko Brigade. If you want to join the Sicko Brigade, it's easy. Go to joinsubtext.com/Locked On Hornets. You get access to my phone, essentially. You get to text me, and we get to text back and forth when the Hornets win. We do Sicko Sellies. When they lose, we do Sicko Lamentations. But we're celebrating tonight, and we're going to start with, drum roll, it's Keith from the 22nd Johnny Newman Regiment, who says, true testament to this team's growth and depth that the starters played that bad and still won by 27. Well, that's the thing, Keith. So I thought about this too. I'm like, yeah, the starters played bad. I wonder, and we've been making a lot of the fact now they're 19-2. They have such a great record when they play together. So I did go to the lineups, and actually the starting lineup had a +7. It was a +7 on the night. Beat Dallas 26-19. Net rating of 33.3. Offensive rating of 123.8. Defensive rating of 90.5. Those are great numbers. Was that more about what Dallas had than what the starting lineup had? Probably on this night. It was the starters particularly when they were playing with the bench. They just didn't have it. It was all over the game. Kon missed shots, turnovers, fouls, that sort of situation. And I think it just highlighted some of the efficiency that you saw from guys like Grant Williams and Josh Green. All right, let's keep going. Oh, my God, I love this one. All caps from, I don't have one here. Maybe they've left me one before. This is, the Maladon Militia. This is Drew Please of the Maladon Militia. Trey Maladon. The Rapide Sonk. Oh, man, I missed the Rapide Sonk. He would come in and just Maladon would come in and give you 5 points, just like right off the rip. It was a beautiful thing. I still say Rapide Sonk when someone comes off the bench and fires a 3, follows it up with a 2, or vice versa. All right, Drew Please of the Maladon Militia says, in all caps, how are we already 500? This is surpassing my most extreme sicko fantasies. Drew, please. I don't know if I want to dive into those sicko fantasies, but I love it. This turnaround has been in way, and this is something else that producer Evan and I were talking about before the show. This turnaround, just by record, is extraordinary. To think where they were, through the first 25 games or so, and to think of where they are now, and to be able to pull out of that tailspin is a testament to the determination of this group, the togetherness of this group, how much joy they play with, how competitive they've been, on and on and all the things that we have talked about nonstop about what's fueling this team. But at the same time, like I was listening to friend of the show, friend of mine, Wes from Locked On Heat and Locked On NBA, took over for me as host of Locked On NBA. And he was talking about the play-in game being the perfect fit for Charlotte, but the perfect opportunity for a team like Charlotte that had such a bad start, recovered, and now would have a chance to make the playoffs, where they may not have had it in years before the play-in tournament if they fell just short, got to 9, didn't quite get to 8. And so when Wes was talking about it, he's like, yeah, they just played really poorly. Well, that's true. And in some ways, this turnaround is extraordinary. But if you're a sicko and you've been in the sick, like you understand that the first part of that season was also injury filled. And it's the fact that they were out and they were having to depend on guys named Drew Peterson, who you haven't seen from again. It's like, you guys, that feels like we're all sickos. That feels like a fever dream. The idea that someone named Drew Peterson was playing and missing literally every 3-point opportunity he had. Like that happened. That happened this season. That wasn't 2 years ago. That was this season. Okay. There were G Leaguers everywhere. As far as the eye could see, it was G Leaguers all the way down. So yes, it was about talent, but the turnaround is just as much adding that talent back as it is getting those guys together for the first time under Charles Lee. I feel like Charles Lee has had his impact on LaMelo. He's had his impact on Brandon. He's had his impact now on Kon, but it was all in different time periods. And now it's sort of like Avengers when they all like come out at the very, spoiler alert if you haven't seen the final one, Endgame, they all come out of the portals, right? And it's everybody getting together to fight the final boss. That's what the second half of this season has been. More than the second half of this season has been. All of them finally coming together, taking all of their experiences and putting them all together and getting that rhythm. We're seeing plays like, I keep seeing this over and over, Kon throwing it over the top to Kalkbrenner or Miles Bridges or somebody who catches it midair and fires it back to the three-point line, all in one motion. And that's the kind of stuff that takes rhythm. You can't just get that off the rip. We're seeing these guys finally able to play with each other multiple games. That's what this turnaround has really been about. All right, I'm spending too much talking, not enough time. Sicko selling. Let's go to the next one. This one is from Bam Bam of the 21st Ricky Pierce Division, a.k.a. the Flying Big Paper Daddies, who says, ugly win, and we still win by 27. Can't lose that. We really can't lose that fact that it was not a pretty win, maybe even an ugly win, and they still win by 27. Ricky or Bam Bam says, tomorrow will be a litmus test on whether we're among the best of the league. We better play more disciplined if we intend to win. And that is absolutely correct. And again, I'll go back to something I said early in the show. I'd rather them play like this and have some things to talk about in the locker room than have them just completely mud stomp and have nothing to talk about. Really have played a perfect game going into that game against the Celtics. This one coming from J-Dog of the 44th Kenny Gaddison Division, the Gat Man, says, let's effing go. I deserve this, so not ashamed to finally be in a spot where I can complain about refs in a 27-point blowout. Yes, that's when we make that's when we fully realize our sickness, when we now get to the point where we're complaining about the refs in a 27-point blowout. You're always going to have something to complain about refs-wise, and certainly there was, I remember one particular transition play where Musa just got completely racked on the arm. No call. LaMelo, you got plenty of contact, didn't get a call. That happens. That's going to happen. And I guarantee you in a playoff series, a lot of that's going to happen. So they just need to prepare themselves now. And they've been doing better, I think. LaMelo, I would say, you got to stop hitting the floor so much, okay? It was a little too much. He's got to find some equilibrium. He hit the floor a little too much, and it put the Hornets in a bad position defensively. You've got to recognize, okay, and Dallas showed their cards early on in that game. They said, hey, we're going to run literally anytime we have an opportunity to. I think something's got to click and go, okay, they're going to run. I got to stay on 2 feet as much as I possibly can so I can get back on defense. I'm sure they'll look at that on the tape. All right, next one. Davis of the 8th Bismack Brigade says, this whole not playing well and winning by double digits thing is cool. A total team effort. Yeah, it's great. You don't even have to play 100%. You don't even have your 6th man and Kobe White, and you still win by 27. Now, Adam Silver was in attendance, and Del Curry said he talked to Adam Silver before the game, and Adam Silver is going to do something about this tanking situation. I don't believe it when I see it. But there's a little bit of the tanking thing going on here where they're doing right by Cooper. You protect Cooper. That's your future. Maybe he could have played if this were like a real game. But they hold him out. But lots of injuries. They would be look. The Dallas Mavericks is an organization fine with losing this game. They would love to add DeBonsa or Peterson or Boozer. Boozer, Flag, Duke everywhere. By the way, so many of the Kon Sion connection. You add Kalkbrenner in there. Look, Kalkbrenner should just get an honorary degree from Duke. Okay, just make all 3 of them Dukies. they feel like they've always played. They feel like they've played together since middle school, since, grade school. I mean, they just have such a great connection. It's incredible. Here's this one from Rocky from Salisbury. It's wild. The Hornets were 13-24 before the West Coast road trip in January. Now 31-31. Absolutely insane. It is, Rocky. It's insane. It's insane. This one from 864 says, gritty win by our boys. The bench is really stepping up. When Kobe is fully in the mix, our second unit is going to be able to lock down on D and knock down threes. 2.5 games back. Hornets 6 seed looking really promising. Yeah, I didn't check the final score. Did the Sixers lose? What was I'm going to look it up real quick. Spurs said the Sixers did. Oh, they really lost. They lost about as no, it was a little harder if my math is correct. 131-91 to the Spurs. Absolutely got smacked. So they fall to 33-28. Yeah, the 6th seed. They've got the game against Boston coming up, the Hornets do, and then huge one against Miami coming up as well. I think I can get a couple more in. Let me just go rapid fire here. Shout out to the bench, played well even without Kobe. Got to defend without fouling tomorrow. 252 says Green, Kalk, and Williams are impressive. 352 says don't wake me up from this dream. 910 says good evening, Doug. This one is just said this before I released the Sicko celebration. Says good evening, Doug. Can we get Sicko celebration segment on the next pod? Seems like it's been a long time since you've done one. Yeah, I would try to do them on the recap episodes. So here we are. We're recapping. We're Sicko selling. It was amazing. Great win by the Charlotte Hornets. And now got a game against the Boston Celtics. I'll be on the game notes for that one, so check out everyhornetsboxscore.com. Walker and I will be getting together tomorrow, probably before the game. We'll talk more about this game and some things we want to see, so it'll be a little kind of pre-gamey, and then we will recap it on Thursday, so stick around for that. And also check out everyhornetsboxscore.com. Check out WFNZ and listen to Wes and Walker every afternoon from 12 to 3. Thank you so much to producer Evan and everyone that makes this show possible. And obviously, thank you to you for supporting this show, for listening every day, for being an everydayer. We really appreciate it. Until next time, go Hornets. Go 500 Hornets. Go America. Let's swarm Charlotte. See you.